Is Larry Mandelberg. Are you there? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Not yet. Would you like to volunteer? Huh? If you don't, check with Larry later, and he might give you some notes of his own. But thank you so much. I'll give you an email to send the finished article to Amy. Thank you so much. Anyway, Larry, our speaker this morning, is a professional business consultant, the fifth generation of his family to carry on the family's business of solving their clients' complex business problems. Larry has published 80 plus columns in business magazines, delivered more than 60 keynote addresses at workshops, and also guested on television, radio, and podcasts about entrepreneurship and organizational success. Also, not to be forgotten, Larry is a longtime active CWC member who has, in the past, given us many post Saturday luncheon talks about various aspects of writing. His first book, titled Businesses Don't Fail, They Commit Suicide, published last year, that's 2023, is based on 23 years of his own primary research. And so, among the things we're going to learn today from Larry is who controls what in the publishing world and what you can do about it. Okay? The title of his talk is My Firsthand Experience with a Hybrid Publisher and the Pitfalls to Watch Out For, kind of a Victorian long title, but that's okay. Okay. Please welcome Larry Mandelberg.
How does this sound with the mask on? Yeah, I apologize for the mask. I've tested myself for COVID 4 times over the last 8 days. I do not have it. I did not get a cold, but I caught a cough, and the cough comes and goes. And so if I lose my breath or I cough, I'm not dying. I'll be fine. And she stole my thunder. I was going to ask, I just want to make sure all of you are here for the 4 generations in the workplace conversation, but she kind of stole my thunder with the title, so that doesn't work. I want to say it's really a joy to see so many familiar faces. I feel like I know most of the people in this room, and that's a joy for me. It may not be for you, but it is for me. I don't have any handouts. What I have is a lot of words, and it's going to be recorded. And I have things I'm going to show you on the screen. So for those of you that are remote, you'll be able to see this stuff when I bring it up. I'm going to give you some things that you may find of value. I'm going to give you some information that you may find of interest, but of no value. I'm going to give you some information that's financially related that may shock you. And I'm going to give you some stuff that you might not care about at all. So that's okay too. I want you to know, and I think this is really important, why I wrote this book. I wrote this book because I got a bug in my head when I was a teenager from my dad about why do businesses fail? And that has been the fabric of my life. 66 years old today. Since I was not today. I'll be 67 soon. But since I was 14, that has been kind of the bug or the itch that I cannot scratch. It's been my life's passion along with education. And I also think it's really important to understand why I wrote this book. For those of you who understand the art of writing, and thank God it's an art, and a lot of this I learned from this club. If you don't understand what you're trying to accomplish with your book, you're going to fail. And part of the what is the who, and part of the what is the why. And part of that why is the why for the reader, And part of that why is the why for you. And for me, I feel a ethical, and I mean ethical, obligation to share the knowledge I found with the community that's constantly self-destructing, the small business community that has literally thousands of businesses failing every day and thousands of businesses being created every day. And there's more failing than being created every day. That's scary. That's scary. So it's important that you understand this, because part of what I did was I did not want to make money. I did not want fame and fortune. I love both. I'm not afraid of them, but my goal was to be able to tell this community, this target market that I selected, I know how to help you make your business survive and thrive in times of change and turmoil. And if you care, that's fine. And if you don't care, that's fine. At least I just want you to know that I've got an answer. I don't know if it's the answer, but it's an answer. And that was my goal. So just being able to say that, I don't care if they buy the book. I don't care if they read the book. I don't care if they hire me. I don't care if they don't. I don't care if they don't care. But that was my goal, which means as part of the publishing process, yeah, there is a connection here. I needed this to be good enough to be on the shelves of law libraries and on the shelves of libraries of large businesses that I serve that have libraries and that have reading material. It needed to meet their levels of quality. So that a lot of that has to do with the publishing process. I started, so this journey started in April of 2011 when I hired my first ghostwriter, because I didn't feel like I had time to write the book, but I had the knowledge. And then I hired my second ghostwriter in 2012. And then I realized that there was no way I was going to be able to hire somebody to write this book. And let me assure you, we'll get to all of the nuts and bolts of the publishing process, but I want to give you this context because I think it's helpful. And I also want to tell you that I'm not going to lose my track. So if any of you have a question, don't hesitate to raise your hand. I'm happy to answer your questions. And if it gets too long, I'm going to shut you down. And it might feel rude, and I don't mean to be rude, but we've got to serve everybody here. So please forgive me for that if that happens. So I finally decided I needed to write this book myself, and I dabbled with looking for an agent, and I dabbled with looking for a publisher. And the good news is that for me, because I had written so much and I'd had so much published in relatively well-known things, most of my stuff was published in the Sacramento Business Journal, but I was been publishing business journals all over the country. I had some leverage, unlike most brand new authors. And it was just a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And I thought, I don't have time for this. The self-publishing route is the way to go. It's too easy. I can make this happen. So I took off on that. Now, most of you know who Stephanie Chandler is. And she has a company called Authority Publishing. The woman is, oh gosh, I don't even know how to describe her. She is brilliant. She is fabulous. And I'm going to share my screen. I do this 3 to 4 times every single day, weekends included. If the mic gets too far from my mouth, please let me know. Yes? Well, she has a company called Authority Publishing. She has a bunch of companies, and one of the things she does is she publishes. And this, in 2000 and when was it? Back in in the 2000 teens, this was her offering. And as you can see, she has 4 different packages, and the cheapest is 7,000 and the highest is 20,000. And because I know her and because she's a friend, we agreed to do the cheapest one. It was what I needed, and she offered it to me for $6,000, and we started doing it. Marcia? Yeah, it's nonfiction. She also has an organization called the Nonfiction Authors Association, NFAA. But it's the most powerful resource for writers you'll ever find. Unbelievable resource. So Steph and I went along, and I don't know how much you know about her background, but her background, she had a real tragedy. She lost her husband to suicide. And my book title is Businesses Don't Fail, They Commit Suicide. We agreed that it would not be good for her to publish this. It was a little too close, it was a little too personal, and it was a little too traumatic, and it ended up being the right thing to not do. As it relates to suicide, I want you to know that I did research on this, and I talked to the 2 largest suicide support organizations in the US, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And I tried to find out whether this was a problem or not. And they said, no, this is clearly not going to be a problem for us, because we don't talk about committing suicide anymore. We talk about dying by suicide, death by suicide. And believe it or not, somebody said to me, you should change the title to reflect that. And I said, no, because this is not about people killing themselves. This is about businesses self-destructing. And yes, it's a shock title. And that was the entire point. So that's that. And so from there, what I did was I went to, now I will tell you all that I see a bunch of stuff in the chat, and there's no, I'm going to get to that while I'm talking because I can't see it, but I will get to it when I'm done. So then I went to a company called Trafford. And Trafford is an interesting company. They're very sophisticated. They have very powerful marketing tools. Hear that. Very powerful marketing tools. And I bought their tapestry package. See it down there? 4th up from the bottom. That was a $10,000 package. $11,000 package. Bought that October 12th of 2020. Had a 7-page contract. I said, yeah. During the terms of this agreement, 7-page contract. Royalties. So I said, wait a minute. I've been reading contracts my whole life. All I've ever done is own businesses. I've really never worked for a company that I didn't own. And I've owned over a dozen companies. So I said, no, I can't do this. I have to have my lawyer review it. They said, we're not giving you the contract unless you sign up. And I said, well, I'm not going to sign up unless I can get my money back. So we went back and forth and argued about this quite a bit. Eventually I signed up. I gave him $3,700, I gave him $3,075. And I got the contract and gave it to my lawyer. And a month later, on November 10th, I said, we are not going to use you. I want my money back. And they argued and argued and argued, and sent me to a guy who said he would take care of it for me, but he never called me. And I called him and he never called me. I don't need to tell you the story. It was a nightmare. See, I'm starting to lose my breath. It pisses me off.
Just clarify, they wouldn't give you the contract until you signed up?
Correct. They would not give me the contract until I signed up. A publishing deal. This is a publisher. It's a contract to publish my book. Yeah, their agreement, their publishing agreement, whatever you want to call it. Right. Well, they could run their business any way they want to, as long as I can get my money back legally. And that's all I've ever done. And I have lawyers, multiple. I'm not afraid of that stuff. That doesn't bother me.
So after all you did was, they haven't done anything for you, all you did was get the contract, have a lawyer remove that, and at that point, they haven't really done anything, but they refused to refund.
They didn't refuse. No. They didn't say no. They said, I can't do it. You need to talk to Joe. So I contacted Joe, gone, no response. Emailed Joe, no response. Called Joe, no response. Went back to the guy that signed me up. I said, Joe isn't calling me back. He said he will. I said, but he's not. And they said he will. And I said, when? Anyway, this went on and on and on. Finally, the guy called me back to cancel it. Had to have an interview with him, had to have an interview with someone else. Ended up saying, okay, we'll do it. 2 days later, there was another $3,000 charge from them on my credit card. I called a credit card company. I told them the whole story. I gave them all the documentation. They put a hold on both charges, refunded the first one, put a hold on the second one. Eventually, I got my money back. Moral of that story is, if you're going to engage with somebody, don't be afraid to give them money, but make damn sure you know what your rights are and that you can get it back. Because I had really good documentation. And by good documentation, I mean, not only did I have the language, but I had the dates, times, and names of every person I spoke to. You have no idea how powerful that is when you get on the phone with somebody. No. I talked to Susie on the 17th at 2:30 in the afternoon. Go check your records. I've got a phone call on my bill that I can show you. So that was Trafford. Wonderful people. So during the course of that time, oh, I'm sorry, Jim.
And I haven't needed a ton of documentation. Simple stuff. Always need to get that. That's really good. But I wouldn't have hired you.
Well, you didn't see what I saw before I did. It's easy to see it in hindsight. But you might have been smarter than me. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. So
Now or later, tell us why you did that contract. Now or later.
I rejected the contract for 3 reasons. First, the royalties there were 5 bullets identifying specific criteria for what royalty rates would be in descending order, and they were very onerous. And I thought, why only 5? If you're going to go to this trouble, why not give me 50? I mean, it's obviously you're trying to find a way to keep as much money for yourself and not give me money. Second was all of their conditions and things like disputes will be handled by arbitration. And one of the tricks people do with arbitration is they force you to do arbitration in the state where the vendor, so if the vendor, and a lot of these are located in states that are not friendly to consumers. So if you're in California and they're in Massachusetts, you have to go to Massachusetts sometimes in order to go through arbitration, which is not always cheaper than a lawsuit. And just the over feeling of what it was like to communicate with them bothered me. And my lawyer said, don't do it. So my lawyer's been with me since 1980. So February 15th, I bought a business February 15th, 1980. And when we closed the deal, I went over to the seller's lawyer, and I said, you will never, ever be on the other side of the table for me again as long as I live. How much is your retainer? And I wrote him a check that day. It wasn't a bad situation. It was great. He just impressed the hell out of me, and he's been my attorney ever since. That's a long time. So then I'd been approached by Page Publishing in 2012, and I turned them down. By the time November 2020 rolled around and Trafford was going on, Page became very appealing. I signed up with Page. This is my agreement, November 12th. And they gave me a bunch of good stuff. And what you can see here, hold on a second, what's the number? Yeah, that's the agreement. What you can see here is what they do. They provide you a publication coordinator. And notice in this right here about publication coordinator 1A, notice that there's something that it doesn't say. What it doesn't say is, we're not going to let you talk to anybody at this company but your publication coordinator.
Hello.
We're not going to let you talk to anybody at this company but your publication coordinator.
Hello.
Think about that. So this is the agreement, all the distribution. It's not that bad. It's easy. Royalty payments, simple paragraph. And then they give you some optional benefits. You can see here, I wish to purchase author professional promotional package, posters, sell sheets, bookmarks, $500, etc. And one of the things, so the things that are included in their package, by the way, their package costs $3,445. They provide editorial review and pre-publication full copy edit. But when they do, they tell you it is critical that you do not attempt to add any new material or make any material changes to your manuscript once we have begun the process. And that doesn't sound bad, but what if you find a critical flaw? What if you find one chapter that needs to be moved, or a chunk of a chapter that belongs somewhere else? And this is business nonfiction. So this is not memoir, it's not fiction. It's business nonfiction. They do page design, they do cover design, they do hard copy printing, they do conversion to ebook formats, they do publicity campaigns. I'm going to talk about each of those before we're done. And what is my stop time? 45 minutes? Is it quarter to the? Yeah, that's what I thought. So then they had optional services. So these are the optional services.
That's the guy.
Not here. I'm not there yet. Here's the optional services. Yes.
He's talking about companies who do the publishing. You buy a package, and they do some stuff.
Somebody has their speaker on.
He can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is he a good speaker?
Major editorial changes. Well, we'll talk about that. I'll talk about the errors and the corrections. It's about major editorial changes. The point is that I can't give the editor new material. Once the editor starts looking at my manuscript, I can't give him a revised manuscript. I can only work with what he had. Yeah, I don't want to debate this. So optional packages. Deliver the promotional package, $495. The radio interview, the optional video trailer. Just a minute, I'm moving stuff around. This is the only thing I don't like about, sorry. This is the only thing I don't like about Zoom, is it getting this. Come on, mouse. Well, now I've lost the mouse. What's that? Good. There we go. Thank you, that helps. So, promotional package, live radio, interview, video trailer. So, there's the mouse. So, what I bought, I'll show you what I bought. This is what I bought. It's pretty short, 60 seconds.
Where would people see that?
Wherever I choose to put it.
Online somewhere?
Dwayne.
Put it on your Amazon page.
Well, I can post it into LinkedIn. I can put it on Facebook. I can put it on my website. What's that?
It'll be a link online that they put on.
There. Let me say it another way. They aren't going to do a damn thing with it. It's a video clip. You do whatever you want to do with it. It's a video clip. You put it anywhere you want to put a video clip. A video clip can go on YouTube. Any place you can put a video clip, you can put it on a video clip. That's all it is. I'm going to talk to you about marketing. One of the things.
Let me just say that there's on the meeting archives, I have all these links from Larry, and they'll be on our website.
Yeah, and one of the things that I have, the bullet points here, is what marketing and promotion really means. I'm going to touch on that before we're done, okay? So hold on something for a minute. I'm going to give you some financials. And I don't want to shock you, and I want you to understand that this is part of a financial process for me, right? There's a revenue issue here. If you don't spend money, you don't make money. So I'm not afraid of spending money, but I don't want to blow your doors off. But I want you to understand what the hell I've been through. Prior to hiring Paige, now mind you, I've already had 2 ghostwriters and a whole bunch of other crap. Prior to hiring Paige, I had spent $16,227.50 and had nothing. I had nothing but knowledge. Nothing. As of today, my total payment to Paige is $4,794. And I'm going to tell you that's pretty cheap. And I'm pretty happy about that. And would I do it again based on the money? Yes. Would I do it again based on the grief? Well, that's for you to decide. But I'll talk more about that. Somebody say something?
P-A-G-E or P-A-I-G-E?
P-A-G-E Publishing. Somebody said they're doing developmental editing. A couple of you said you're doing that. I spent $2,200 on a developmental editor. I reached like crazy. I hired Kristen Iris. Genius. She saved my ass. She saved my ass. She asked me a question and she said, "You keep talking about this thing everywhere in the book. What are you talking about?" And I realized that the central piece of the whole book, I never talked about it. She took a 23-chapter book outline and turned it into a 12-chapter book outline. The woman was genius. If you have a serious piece of work that you want to print or publish, do not skip developmental editing. I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how talented you are, don't skip it. I have a PowerPoint presentation on the top editing disciplines and why you use them and when you use them and the sequence you use them in and the benefits of using them. Anybody that wants that, I'll give it to you. And Bernard, if I forget, ask me. We can put it online. The gal who did our anthology last time, who fixed it, I asked her to review it and tell me what she thought, and she says, I only have one thing. Is this something I can give to other people? It's the best thing I've ever seen about editing. So I've got validation. I'm not trying to take praise. This is just not my smarts. This is me capturing knowledge and sharing it with other people, okay? So let's talk about the process.
Can I ask you a basic question?
Sure.
These are hybrid publishers. Can you describe how that's different from a vanity press?
Yeah. Hybrid publishers. So the range of hybrid publishing. This is my understanding. I speak like I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my personal experience and the knowledge I've been able to accumulate. There's 9 billion people in the world. I could very easily be wrong, but this is my understanding. Tim asked me if I could explain what hybrid publishing is. So hybrid publishing brings a subset of what traditional publishing brings for a fee. And every hybrid publisher chooses how to deliver those things and what to deliver. Most of them say, these are the basic things and this is the basic fee and everything else is an add-on. Some of them will have different base packages. Some of them will have fewer add-ons, but that's basically what a hybrid publisher is. The best have criteria for acceptance. You can't buy your way in. You have to write your way in. With Page, they don't take you until it goes through a 30-day review process. They will not accept anybody's manuscript. So you have to submit your manuscript and get approved. Oh, I know what a vanity press is. I wouldn't go that far, Tim. He said that's what distinguishes it from a vanity press. That was part of his question. No, because I know hybrid publishers who are, I won't call them unethical, but I'll call them profit focused. And they don't give a shit whether your book is crap, as long as they can get your money.
That's the very definition of a vanity press.
Mm-hmm.
They'll publish anything if you give them money.
Yeah, may I jump in here? I think we're missing one of the key things. My understanding, opinion, hybrid publisher by definition means that the financial burden of being shared by author and publisher. That means the author's putting in money, but publisher is also got skin in the game. So they are going to do a royalty share of the author. And so a true quote vanity press, there's no you're just hiring someone to do the work for you. Which is why a hybrid publisher needs to have quality work. Right. They can get some chance of financial return on the sales.
So that's new knowledge for me, and it sounds right. So thank you both.
But the term hybrid publishing has been, there are so many different gradations in these models. Like you can have a hybrid publisher that retains ownership, partial ownership of the book, gets to share the royalties with the author, but it might be such an unequal split that essentially is operating as a vanity. They're not really expecting to make any money off this book. They're just going to take a little off the top.
Right.
So, and in general, none of these models are inherently good or bad. It depends on what the goals are,
right,
and how well they do their business. And I think the term vanity publishing is kind of playing out in favor of a bit, or it should be, because it's a pejorative term. There are lots of good assisted self-publishing where that's the right option, but you just want somebody to hire somebody to do something. That's wrong.
So let me get back to the experience. So I had absolutely no problems with them until I got my first galley. So what happens is you send them your manuscript and they send you back what's called a galley. And this is what your book's going to look like. And when I got my first galley, they gave me a galley sheet. And they said, they said, here's what we want, where we want you to put any corrections or edits or changes that you need to have made. This is my galley sheet, my first galley sheet. How many, see this over here, number 1? Here's number 2. It's not doing it. Hold on. Where's page down? There's page down. There's number 2, 3, 4, 5. How many edits do you think I had in my first galley sheet? I want you to give me a guess number. Throw out some numbers. That I gave them. I got the first galley sheet and I said, here's the corrections you need to make for my manuscript. Guess at a number. 200. Anybody else? 20. Anybody else? How many? 300. 1. Where's end? Okay, come on. $293. 293. How long do you think it took me to do that? It took too damn long. So my last galley sheet, I had to do these 7 times. 7 times. I had to read the entire manuscript, word for word, context, style, spelling, graphics, layout. I found them putting footnotes, splitting footnotes across pages. So a footnote would start on one page and it would finish on the next page with no number or reference to what it was doing there. I found font errors. I found title errors. I found spacing errors. I found font size errors. I found textual errors. I have a writing style that I use that is proprietary and doesn't necessarily meet proper grammar criteria. And that's by design. It's not accidental. Trying to get them to understand that what I wrote was what I meant was tricky. It was hard. So the last galley I sent them, the last galley sheet I sent them had 15 items on it. Decreasing order, decreasing quantity every single time. The point of the 7 is that 293 ended up being 55 on the second galley, and they kept shrinking, but it took 7 for me to say, I'm not doing this anymore. This is good enough. Do these last 15 and we'll go. So since then, I have been accumulating edits, errors, and revisions. I don't have them differentiated. I can't tell you how much of this is what I want to change and how much of it is what needs to be fixed. But since the book was published, I've accumulated 40 more items. And in all honesty, in all fairness, some of those are mistakes I made when I wrote it. They're not mistakes that the publisher made. I thought I had that last galley sheet, but it's not that important. The corrections, that was a great question. She said, were all the corrections my errors or the publisher's errors? They were both. That's really a good question. Thank you for that. 97% of them were their errors, but I made a few errors and they caught them. And I expected that. That's what an editor's for, right? So they did their job, but I did better. But I also have a wife who's a professional writer. So everything that went to them had been reviewed by her already. So the odds of it being pretty clean were high. So I want to spend the rest of the time answering the 5 questions and allowing you to ask me questions. Yes. Oh, yeah. Sure. They sent me a galley. They sent me the book in PDF format. And this is what I had to do. And there's instructions on how to these columns to the left. It's the change number, the page number, the paragraph number, and the line number. So if you look up here at 281, that's on page 204, paragraph 3, line number 1. And they have rules about what that means. And yes, this is after all this has been done. My greatest benefit was the index. Now, I didn't bring that. And I'll pass this around. It's a 5-page index. I don't know how hard it is to do that. They charged me $300. I expected to pay $3,000. The index in a business book is critical. If you don't have a good index, you're screwed. You don't have a good business book. That was really a big deal for me. My greatest disappointment, this is embarrassing because this club has really tried to do a good job of helping me understand this. I never really understood the power of KDP and Amazon until I published this book. Those people have power like you can't imagine. My publisher failed to give me the same kind of editorial control over the production of the Kindle book that they gave me over the other ones. And this is what my Kindle table of contents looked like. Now, it's important to understand that this book is divided into 4 sections. The first section isn't even identified. The second section is titled Growth and Maturation. But it doesn't even look like that's a section. It looks like that's a chapter, and it's not. But that just looks like crap. That's the table of contents. And the table of contents in that book has heavy formatting. And it helps the reader, the business reader, understand where to go. When you look at a business book, the business book table of contents and index tells you what you need to know about the business book, because you don't read business books from front to back. You go to the business book and you read about what you want to read about, and you need to be able to find it quickly, right? So understanding all that stuff, you need a publisher that can understand it too. I had to get a lawyer involved to get this fixed because I didn't find out until somebody told me. They didn't give me editorial content. They didn't say review it, give me a galley sheet. And guess what else they said? We can't do what you want. And I said, why? And they said, because the people who are publishing it can't make that happen. The only people that can do that are Kindle Press. And Kindle Press isn't publishing this. Right. Well, Jim says I'm wrong. Excuse me. And right. Yeah. And I guess my point is my biggest disappointment was not understanding the limits that my publisher was going to be dealing with. Right. And once I'm engaged in a contract with them, I can't get out of that without a lawsuit. The book launch, a master class in failure. I know there's people in here, show you've done some great book launches. A book launch is a wonderful thing. You got to understand why you're doing it, and you got to have a very specific, measurable objective. For me, I had that, and I wanted to do the book launch, and I hired somebody and paid him $6,800 to help me. That was a 1-year contract. She has a history of international bestsellers. She has the bona fides. She has the success. She has the track record. And I couldn't get a book delivery date. My publisher wouldn't give me a delivery date. It'll be ready when it's ready. And when the book was ready, it was the paperback, not the Kindle. And when will the Kindle be ready? I can't give you a delivery date. It'll be ready when our Kindle department has it. Can I talk to the Kindle department? No, you can't. You can only talk to your publication coordinator. What marketing and promotion really means. Does anybody really know what marketing means? Does anybody want to try to take a stab at what marketing means? You're welcome to. Creating, maintaining buzz around a particular thing. So I'm going to give you a little different definition. There's 4 terms: business development, public relations, marketing, and sales. Business development is the umbrella, and underneath that is public relations, marketing, and sales. This is Larry's world, and I write about this in the book. This is what I teach my clients to do. Public relations is communicating the value of what you do. Karen, did you want to ask? No worries. Public relations is communicating the value of what you do, period. To anybody. Doesn't matter who they are. I guarantee you alcoholics don't care about Budweiser commercials when they watch the Super Bowl. Right? The Amish don't care about car commercials when they watch the Super Bowl. And those are the most expensive ads in the world. That's public relations. That's not advertising. That's PR. Marketing is communicating the value of what you're offering to the community that is likely to have a need or desire to buy it at some point in time. Let me repeat that. Marketing is communicating the value of your offering to a community that has the likelihood of a need or desire to buy it at some point in time. What's not in there? Who knows what word I didn't use? What do we want to do with our books? What word wasn't in what I just said? Right. That's why sales is the 3rd or the 4th item. It's the 3rd item under the hood. Sales is what happens when need or desire meets willingness to spend. You don't need people to help you market your book. You need people to help you sell your book. Their marketing campaigns are nothing more than tools that you can use to do whatever you want with them. And if you fail to use them properly, they are worthless. Do not get blindsided by the concept of someone helping you market your book. Who controls what and what you can do about it? The minute you sign a contract, with a publisher, with a hybrid publisher, you have no idea what authority you have. You think you have all the authority in the world, and the only way you know is by moving forward, and nobody's saying you can't do that. And that can happen at any moment of any activity, of anything you want to do. I'm talking changing your blurb on Amazon or on Barnes and Noble. I'm talking about changing the way it's listed in the Kindle library. I'm talking about changing the cover image. If that cover image gets up there and it's wrong, you can't change it. Do you understand that? You can't change that cover image. You have to rely on somebody else to do it. I got two blurbs on mine. I had an Amazon Kindle blurb and an Amazon paperback blurb, and they were different. And one of them was a draft and wrong. And I couldn't change it. I had to wait for them to change it. I wanted to talk to the designer. I could not get them to get the cover right. I had to go to Fiverr to get a cover. Their free cover design for me was worth what I paid for it. Absolutely nothing. I don't know why it's so hard for people to get the concept of a cover design in a nonfiction book, but it is. Now, I want to tell you this was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot. I spent a lot of money. I will tell you that in total, including that first $16,000, I have spent a total of $37,552.83. I will also tell you that I have made that back manyfold in business that has come to me since the book was published. So for me, it was a highly profitable investment. But I was never interested in making money on the book. Correct. I did not make that money back in book sales. I made that money back in companies hiring me to do consulting for them around the book. And those companies were both companies that were existing clients. It was additional work, and new clients. And you need to know that I'm semi-retired. I don't accept clients just because they come to me. You come to me and then I have to accept you. And people go, what do you mean you have to interview me? I'm like, you don't understand. This isn't a one-way street, buddy. If I don't like you and I don't like what you're doing and I think you're full of crap, I'm not going to work for you. I do no marketing. I do no promotion. I have a newsletter that goes out mostly once a month. 100% of my business is referrals. 100. And for me to have 3 clients, busy clients in a year is a lot of work for me because I like to take a lot of time off. Question. Not if you're not published through KDP. You can submit it, but you can't. And with my publisher, I can't submit it. I have to submit it to my publisher. But did you use a publisher to do it? So the but the problem, Jim, is that the publisher is the one with the license to Amazon. The publisher set the Amazon relationship up. So I can't get into that. I can get in and look at it. Well, I could be wrong, but I know I can get in and I can add comments and I can add editorial reviews and I can add stuff, but I can't change the blurb. I have to go through my publisher. Right. I have one. Jim, I don't want, I don't want to debate it in this forum. I respect you, and you might be right. I don't think you are, because trust me, I tried. I believe that my publisher locked me out. Any other questions?
Did the publisher do any marketing?
Absolutely not. They created marketing tools for me. I'm on their author's website. I have that blurb. I have a one-page promo sheet. They connected me with someone that did a radio interview, so that got posted, and I have that audio. I don't think I can't. I'm sorry. No advanced reader comments. Nope. No, they didn't do any reviews. I did that. I paid for reviews. It wasn't quite 4,000. There's a company that does this, and what you do is you pay them, it's like a couple of $100, and then you lower your price on your Kindle version to like $2.99, and then they reach out and they guarantee you like 10 or 15 reviews, because reviews are how you start to get traction on Amazon. And right now, I don't know how many I've got, 20, 30 reviews, something. I don't know. I've got some. I'm not worried about that. I'm not trying to sell books. That's not my goal. No, the contract doesn't really terminate. What happens is their obligations get fulfilled. So they have contractual obligations. So it doesn't really have a sunset, because there's an ongoing legal relationship between the revenue that they get, because they have a share in the revenue, right? That's part of why they're so cheap, is because they get 50 cents a book. So when I order books physically, I buy them through them. And whenever there's a sale through Amazon or Barnes and Noble or iTunes or any of those stores, they get 50 cents a book. I don't know. Here's a real live current. Just keep it pristine, please. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, no, check. I don't know. Well, no, the Library of Congress wasn't my concern. My concern is law library. I haven't had time to worry about it right now. Is there a Library of Congress number on there? Yes. I'm sorry, one more time. Yes, I own the copyright. April 2023. Nope. Oh, get them back? I don't know. I don't think so. Not without a lawsuit. And I've explored that. It's going to cost me about $2,000 to get that back. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And Lauren has recommended that I spend the $2,000 to get those rights back, and I agree with her. I just don't have time. I can go to somebody else and have it published, and I can get access to what I need to get access to. No, it's not that. It has more to do with if I want to do some kind of a promotional deal with another business or another vendor or an association management company. It has to do with that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's linked to business, Karen. Yeah. 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 Yeah, this is a movie I would probably only go to because it was my child. If you know what I mean. Any other questions? We're kind of running out of time. Any other questions? Okay, let me say this. a substantial part of my success has come from this club. And I'm going to call out a few people here. Sandra, first and foremost. Mike, who I think is a very dear friend. Marcia, you've been very helpful. Karen, you've been very helpful. Jennifer has been very helpful. Tim, you're kind of new to my involvement, and Bernard, but you guys have been great. What can I say, Cheryl? There's just so many people here, and Bonnie's just wonderful. God bless you for what you do, Bonnie. You guys are great, and this is a fabulous club. Anything I can do to help you, I want to be here to help you. I'm easy to find. I don't have a lot of time. You can get my email online. If you just Google Mandelberg, I'm all over the internet. I'm really very easy to find. So with that, I'll say, Bernard, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you all online. Let me just see if there's anything here in the chat that I can. Just see if there's anything here in the chat. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. To fly regarding the high school. Who was that? Who does it? Oh, Kristen, the editor, the developmental editor that I used was Kristen Iris. Let me stop the share. That's not right. Kristen, last name Iris, Iris. I love her. I cannot say enough about her. I told her she didn't charge me enough. I don't know what else to say about that. She didn't charge me enough. Oh, absolutely. Send me an email. My email is larry@mandelberg.biz. First name @ last name .biz, or you can go to businessesdon'tfail.com. I'm really very easy to find. Mute the speakers. Anything else? Anybody? Bernard, Cheryl, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think Amy wants to.
Yeah, I'm gonna hijack the mic for a second. Thank you, Larry. That was super interesting overall. Yes. And very interesting to me because I've been on the other side as the person that wrote the contract that you signed and then there's some technical aspects to doing things, especially the production of the ebook, that even though I've done it multiple times, I don't understand it. I don't know how it works, but I know that there are a huge number of limitations. And the ebook table of contents, yes, you can make it look any way you want, but at some level, the more customization and you want control over it, the more you need an actual computer programmer to do it, because an ebook is a computer program, whereas a paperback is a visual file, and they're completely different. And depending on how much you pay, the person or company you're working with is going to be using some form of automated conversion software that in my process, I start with the paper version, the print version, and when that's completely dialed in and all the corrections have been made, then the very last step is to do the ebook conversion. And there's a lot of complexities there, so I'm not surprised that happened. Yeah? So I have two different rates that I charge when I'm helping people create a book. One is using the free automated software, and my rate for that is cheap. And one is doing things customized. And for certain types of books, using the automated stuff, it works great. You can't customize anything, you get certain generic things, but if there's no graphics, if there's no weird fonts, there's no spacing issue, if it's just straight up blocks of text, they work very well. Do it that way. Anything else, and it gets more complicated. So the point I wanted to make, though, is if there's one thing as a writer that you can do to help yourself, whether you're going to be using automated software or hiring someone, if you're working in Microsoft Word,
get control of your styles. And if you don't know what styles are, maybe you're fine and you've never messed with it and it's all good. But it's the styles that determine how the document gets managed by all of the other software. And if you have good control of your styles, all of the automated stuff is going to go smoothly. If you don't, and if you're using the enter key to create things like that, it's going to be much harder to get a good result using automated software.
Can we have her name and also see, because we can't see her and I guess the name is not showing up on Zoom.
Amy Rogers.
Oh,
Amy
okay.
Rogers.
All right. Thank you.
I assume since there's no more questions, there's no other thing I didn't answer. Are you happy? Was this helpful? Was this of any value?
Oh, yes, yes.
Because I never know. So I hope you got out of this. I hope there was a minimal amount of I don't care and a maximum amount of at least I'm interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I know you all enjoyed Larry's presentation. And again, Happy New Year, and we'll see you again next month.
Thank you so much. Have Happy New Year. Thank you.